So, I realize I only have a little bit of time, and that's an ambitious subject, but I think I can handle this. Because, for those who don't know me, Yosef Mendelsohn, there's a quote from me in the back of your brochure, thanks to Ben at HashRocket. I don't even know what that's all about. So, what I need to talk about is, what is truth? We need the nature of truth. This guy, I'm not going to say his name right. It's Epimenides. If you've ever heard of the liar paradox, this is somewhat attributed to him. He was a Cretan. He said something like, the Cretans are always liars. It's a little confusing. This is Immanuel Kant, who looks angry and talked a whole lot. Michel Foucault, who has an awesome name. He also had some stuff to say about truth. This is apparently truth, according to this dude, who also has a very strange name. It's Jules Joseph Lefebvre. He was French. I can't actually go over the nature of truth in 20 minutes, half an hour, 5 years, but I can talk a little bit about truth in Ruby, which confuses some people, especially people like me, like Brian. I came from Perl. Awesome. I wrote code exactly like that shit years ago. I'm embarrassed still. So I did a quick Google search, and people seem to want to talk about and explain what truth in Ruby is. I think it's a little confusing. I mean, there's true. That's very confusing. That's totally true. That is where the Perl guys start getting confused. This means Ruby is smarter than any philosopher you've ever heard of. It has no problem with that. It's true. That's true. That pisses people off a lot. And, I can't really go... That slide could take forever if I really wanted to fill it out. But there's some things that are not true, like false and nil. And that's it. That's the part that really confuses the hell out of people, which is why I'm giving this talk. So, when you have some code, people have done that sort of thing. Maybe it's like ARR empty, hash.empty, that sort of thing. But then you start writing stuff like this. And this isn't a Rails conference, but people do Rails a lot, so you end up with stuff like that. But I don't really want to talk about all that. I just want to focus on this. How do you know? If you want me to go back a couple slides? We'll have a private showing later. So how do you know? It's really not that hard, but people still get confused. So that's what I'm here for. Remember this. So here's some examples. The first couple, it's like, these are the ones, if you don't know, I can't really help you out. That's because everything's just going to come back to that. So if you're having any trouble, you might want to leave now. But I want to talk about whether things are true, whether they have truth, whether they have truthiness. So I the other day, just came to me. I decided to write something to help everyone, to solve the problem once and for all. So, GitHub, of course, you can't actually install it from GitHub. You have to use RubyForge, because that's the way I roll. I don't want to make gem specs. I just rake release. So we have this. And if you're confused... No, the specs come. Hold on. I wrote the specs first, but I'm showing the specs.
Rake release makes gem spec.
Shut up.
That's what she said.
So we have this example again, but Truthy helps you figure it out. There you go. It'll tell, and this is why if you don't know these two, you're screwed. So, speaking of the specs, this was actually, it took the longest, and it's not complete. If anyone wants to actually fork this project and add more specs, for other things that need to be truthy. I mean, I'm willing to accept all of this. There's also, if you want to donate to the project, I appreciate that too. And I just want to leave you with one more thing. I mean, thank you.